Yeah.
Gotta love technical stuff. All right, good
Yep.
evening, y'all. Welcome into our eighth episode of talking Tiger sports with some Clemson gentlemen. Um, this is Craig here and myself, Freddie. Um, to start off with, I want to give everybody a little bit of a heads up. I'm still working on getting a better intro video. We had some issues with the one that StreamYard allowed or says it allows us to use. Um, and so we had to stop using that when we're trying to get a little bit more professional. But y'all bear with us as we navigate through this thing of technology and getting this show up and running. So, all right, Craig, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing good. Good week, except
Yeah,
one day, kind of.
I know. Yeah, same here, man.
Yep.
You know, I I was looking so forward to Saturday. Kind of hoping to see what we would have, and I'll be honest with you. We talked about it last week. I think we didn't know what we really had after North Carolina and Boston College because, as we saw this weekend, UConn beat Boston College, um, and North Carolina was handled by Cal, I think it was.
Yep.
Um, and so, hey, um, we are who we were afraid we were. I hate to say it that way, but um, you know, another game that if the defense steps up, plays better, we have a chance at winning. Another game where if the offense blocks like we thought they would be able to, we have a chance at winning. Um, as the title says, no Cade, no matter. Um, you know, that's what I think I told you earlier in the year. If the offensive line didn't step up, wasn't gonna matter who we had back there at running back or quarterback, they weren't gonna be able to do anything, and that was proven Saturday. So, all right, let's start out with tonight. Let's start out with a negative. Let's start out with what did you feel negative about the game Saturday?
I think there's the negative. I think is going to dominate this conversation tonight. Um, man, the biggest negative is the defense failing down the stretch. I remember in seasons past, Coach Sweeney had no problem putting the game on the shoulders of the defense to go out and win it for us. And we had every opportunity to come, and this is sad to say, to come back in Death Valley to win that football game. Vizina, look here, he struggled a little bit early on, but once he got his footing, CV was good. I was impressed by him. First start, that was a hard first start too. That wasn't like he was starting against Troy or
Right.
Furman but he came in there. He didn't. I mean, he overcame some early struggles. I mean, he struggled some throughout the game, but the early struggles, he got past those. We had two or three and outs, I believe, to start with.
Yep.
But he put together some good drives, threw some really good passes. How about TJ Moore?
I'm
One
telling
hand.
you, man.
But that's always thrown
that's
perfect.
that's the TJ Moore we've been expecting.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. But I think the biggest negative, the defense. I'm going to give you three. The defense as a whole, the offensive line, and coaching. And I mean, I'm just saying overall coaching. We got out coached at home.
Yep.
By a team that's they're a good football team, not taking anything away from SMU. They're good.
Oh yeah.
But we shouldn't lose a game like that at home.
No.
What you think? What's your negatives?
Pretty much a mirror image of what you just said. When you have 4th and 1, and I had another friend of mine on Facebook that was asking, the first 2 4th and 1s we didn't go for them. All right.
Right.
and they asked a group of us, why have we not gone for it? Why are we not going for it on 4th and 1? And here we go. We bring the bigs in. Okay. You got Peter Woods. You got all your bigs in there. And we don't just miss the getting 1 yard. We get stuffed. Okay.
Stuffed.
For 1 yard. And my comment back was, and that's why we haven't gone for it on 4th and 1. I am so disappointed. And don't get me wrong, I know that the offensive line, I didn't feel like the offensive line was as great as, I guess the coach speak was saying. But I did feel like we could do better than 1.3 yards on average. All right.
Yep.
But my overall biggest disappointment, was our defense, man. It's just, we have fallen so far on defense that, it's almost scary.
It is.
I mean, I know that, they're still saying that Peter Woods is a 1st-round pick and all this. And I wish him the best. I do. I hope he does. I hope he gets it. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm not as impressed as some are.
Same.
And I'm
they
not.
Don't play with fire.
No. Well, and this is what you're hearing. DJ Reader came out after the game. Now, I don't agree with everything DJ Reader said, because DJ Reader was saying, that we need to use the portal, and we need to look, man. We filled the gaps that everybody thought we needed to fill this past year with the portal. All right. I mean, like somebody else said earlier today, ask Billy Napier how the portal's working out, because he's had teams, filled with it. All right.
Right.
But I do agree with the fact that we don't seem to have any heart. I do believe that, players here and there do, but on defense, I mean, it's almost like they're going through the motions. And
some are. I'm going to tell you what, and you're right. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second.
Mm-hmm. No, you good.
We need to get these dudes like Stefan Green, number 90, defensive tackle. When that joker's in there, he's playing with heart every time. K-Park does too. Yep. I don't know what's happened to T.J. Parker. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. Jaheim Lawson, he's playing with heart. Will Helt is playing with heart. Mm-hmm. Man, the dudes that want to play, put them in there. Let the dudes that are in there playing with heart, play them.
Even the announcers in Saturday's game in the 4th quarter, T.J. Parker had like 2 tackles, and they even mentioned, you haven't heard his name very much today, but and I'm like, I don't know. I just, it's almost dumbfounding, man. I just don't have an answer. I've had my cousins ask me 3 times this week, or 3 times already. He'll ask me plenty more times this week, I know, but since yesterday, he's asked me 3 times already. What's the deal? And I don't have an answer.
Never seen this. But I want to address what you said about offensive line. So I pulled up the depth chart while we were talking. And what you're saying about we get stuffed at the line with our bigs in. All right. Now check this out. Starting left tackle for the game Saturday was Braden Jacobs. Yep, he's a freshman, but 6'7", 355 pounds. Colin Sadler at left guard, 6'6", 310 pounds. Our center, 6'3", 305. Length to come. Walker Parks and Elijah Thurman, they both go. Parks is 6'5", 310. Thurman, 6'4", 325. And then at the right tackle, you have Blake Miller, who is 6'6", 315. Now, then you add in Peter Woods, who is 6'3", about 305, 310 pounds.
Yep.
How many tons is that and can't get a yard.
Enough to get a yard, you would think.
Can't even get half a yard.
Yeah.
Can't even
get
an inch.
And in his defense, okay, you said it a minute ago, Braden Jacobs is a true freshman. All right. He is 18 years old.
Yep.
All right. And I do believe that he is one of the few bright spots that we've got going forward. Okay. I mean, it was amazing. They even showed the video again Saturday of him and his daddy doing the workout. And I know you remember his daddy in the NFL, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Brandon Jacobs.
He was one of the first big backs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And Braden makes him look like he almost makes him look like a dwarf, man.
I know. Huge.
But
you know,
overall,
Freddie,
yes.
And I do want to say this, because you said something about what Reader says we need to use the portal, but we got the dudes there.
Yeah.
We have highly recruited football players. Now, their performance and their mistakes, that's up to coaching.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Now, attitudes, that's coaching too. I mean, hey, I'm going to tell you this. My father was a football coach, a basketball coach, and a baseball coach. And his thing always, you could be the best player if you don't hustle and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to sit.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why I brought up about, you know, Stefan Green, Jaheim Lawson, those guys are out there playing like their heads are on fire.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But we've got the players. That's the thing. Is the players are there, and I just can't. I'm like you. I cannot wrap my head around what the failure is this year. And it's time. And I'm not gonna lie. It is time for us to just say this year has been a failure for the program, because where were we at in preseason accolades? Top 5.
Yeah.
We were in. Yeah. We had the odds. Some of the highest odds to win a national championship. We had a quarterback that had the highest odds to win the Heisman Trophy. And these are pundits that put this together, but they use real numbers from, you know, what's happened. And what happened last year, returning
on
players.
paper, we were a national title contender.
Well, you know what? And I'm one of them. I'm like, yeah, you know, there's a good possibility. But there's also a good possibility I thought that we could have lost at least, well, at the most, 2 games, maybe 3, just depending. But you couldn't have told, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that after the midpoint we'd be sitting at 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
You even pointed that out at the beginning of it, you know, in our our preview of the season at our first episode. You pointed that out, you know, and I mean, I'm like you. I could have seen us losing 2 games. And you know, I don't look at a season anyway and go, we're going to lose X amount of games. I always go into the season expecting to win all games.
Exactly.
And you know, but like you said, at the halfway point, we're 3 and 4. This is not a 3 and 4 team. Now,
not with the talent.
Now, and don't get me wrong. I know because some people go, oh, yes, we are. I'm talking about with the talent level we have, and you know, everything that we've been told about the coaches coming in and everything. You know, this should have been a team that had a shot at going to the playoffs. And I would dare say this is going to probably go down as one of Dabo's worst teams since he took over. Not because, I mean, don't get me wrong. We know that
talent.
Yeah, well, we know in 2010 that, you know, he was 6 and 7. All right, I get that. I understand that. But think about it from this point. That was early on, and that was when he was trying to get his footing. All right, now he's built it into a program that you expect to win the games they're supposed to win, and you expect this team to have a shot at going to the playoffs every year. Or let me step back there, because I've always said you can't expect to go to the playoffs every year. Here's what I mean by that. This is a team that you should expect to have a chance or compete for a chance at one of those playoff spots.
Well,
you know,
yeah. Well, you're right. Hey, the expectation is that we're going to make the playoffs. That's the
right.
expectation every single year, because that's what Coach Sweeney has built over however many seasons he's been there now, 14, 15, whatever it is. But that's the expectation, kind of like Franklin. I don't know if you just saw what Nick Saban said on game day. They said they did him wrong, that, he did all of this to build Penn State up to where they are. The landscape of college football has changed. It's not like it used to be. And that was wrong. And so I hadn't even gotten on social media or read a whole lot, but I'm sure there's already people wanting to fire Dabo.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the answer. That is not the answer, because he's built Clemson into what we are now. Before that, we're up and down, but we're expected to win at a higher rate now because of the past, because of what he's built. And what he's built to this point, that's a good football team. I mean, it really is. From a talent level, that is a really, really good football team. Now, whatever has happened with this really good football team is on Coach Sweeney. And he's got a plan, but this is, like you said, and this is what I'm building up to, this is the biggest mountain that he's had to climb in his coaching career. And because you could even take out his interim season, that was a big mountain to climb. He just had to prove himself.
That's right.
The mountain he has to climb now is to get the program back on track and to start winning again, and get not only his team and his coaches, but his fans back behind him again. Because there's a lot of people out there, and it could be the minority whose voices you hear more than people like us. I'm positive, but hey, I don't mind pointing out, this is messed up here, And I know I'm saying a lot of negative, but there is a lot of negative. But this is going to be the biggest mountain Coach Sweeney has to climb to salvage a season of great football players. If we didn't have the talent, you'd be like, well, that's just, we got to get the talent in. But the talent is there. No transfer portal is going to change a 5-star Peter Woods, a 5-star Cade Klubnik, a 5-star Bryant Westco, Moore, Sammy Brown, number 1 linebacker in the. I mean, they're all over the field.
Yeah,
they're all over the field.
And you're right. Okay. Yes.
DJ Moore, 4-star.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, honestly, there are already people out there yelling to fire him. Okay. They've been yelling that for a couple of weeks now. But I know I've been going to my cousin a lot, David. That was another thing he asked me. He said, "You don't think we'd be stupid enough at Clemson to fire Dabo?" I said, well, here's my question: anybody that wants to fire Dabo, who do you bring in? Who do you replace the winningest coach in ACC history with, because you fired him over a bad season? A year after he took a team that everybody thought was dead in the water to the playoffs and actually competed against Texas in the playoffs. Okay. Who do you do that with? So no, I don't think that, our administration is stupid enough to do something like that. And matter of fact, I'll step another front. Chad made a comment earlier today that when we were talking in the group that, the good thing about it is our commitments, our committed players so far are actually looking at it and going, why are y'all talking junk and trashing players and trashing the coaches completely? I'm talking fans now, over one bad season. Yeah. And Chad made the best comment there. The good thing is, because 2 of them have come out and said this, okay? One of them is Sammy Brown's brother. All right. At least they can see and at least they know better than that's not everybody. It's not
That's right.
not the norm. Um,
Yep.
you know, now look, and you said this about Coach Franklin earlier, and I agree. I do feel like that they pulled the trigger a little quickly. But the difference right now with him and Coach Sweeney too, though, is Franklin has never, and I hate to say it, and I think we talked about it last week. Franklin, in a lot of ways, reminds me of Tommy Bowden.
Yeah.
Frank could get them right there to, and it's like the fans would feel it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this. Just a few weeks ago, they're number 3 in the country, playing Oregon in a whiteout game with, a chance to make a statement, and Oregon does what they do to them. I mean,
Yep.
don't get me wrong. I mean, for Coach Bowden, sadly enough, it was the NC States, it was the Boston Colleges. It wasn't like it was a top 10 matchup or a top 5 matchup. With
Yep.
but at the same time, that's what he built that program into, and they expected to win. I mean, dude, we're talking about and we talked about this last week. You're talking about a coach that went from playing for a chance to play for the national championship to being fired. And it goes back to what you said. That's what college football has become.
Yep.
It's always point. Yeah, it's always been, what have you done for me lately? But it just seems like the what have you done for me lately has turned into a steroid injected, movement. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah. That's exactly right, because Nick Saban, and I wish I knew word for word how he put this, the reason he got out of college football, because college football has changed so much. It is professional football now. And Florida State is a great example. Was it 23 that they went undefeated, and then the following year they won one ACC game?
Yep.
Well, that's because of the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. You're going to see teams that are going to be like that, with the exception of your big powerhouses like Alabama. They're always going to be there. Georgia is, and if you think about it, it's mostly SEC teams.
Yeah.
Because of that money.
Oh, yeah.
That's the root of all evil. Is that it used to be you recruit your players would stay with you, you would develop your players, and have a football team. But now it's just like the NFL. Well, we got a need here, so we're going to give this guy $2 million running back, rush for 2,000 yards. We're going to bring him in, give him $2 million to play with. And then you a lot of times it's going to be a one and done season. They're there and they're gone. Then they're going to the next best thing.
I actually believe I believe it's worse than the NFL.
Oh, man, look here. Man, you giving 18, 19, 20-year-old dudes money, and I want to point this out. If I'm not mistaken, for a college football player to be eligible to play in the NFL, he has to be at least been in college for 3 years. Is that right or wrong? You can be a redshirt sophomore, or you can be a junior.
That's right.
You can now. What is the reasoning behind that? That's the thing. Is it the age, not being able to handle the money? I mean, what is it? So now what we're doing is we're going ahead. The NCAA is now NFL junior.
Yep.
You're giving an 18-year-old hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what are they going to do? They're going to be just like these NFL players they see on TV. It's going to go to their heads. They're not mature enough to handle well, you know what? If I was 18 and making millions and I was a star, famous person, it would change me.
Yeah.
That's human nature.
You can't help but for it to change. And that's what I'm
human
getting at
nature.
As far as that's what I mean by I think it's worse, because at least with the NFL, when they draft them, they've seen what they're doing in college. They've seen what they're getting. when you go out now in the college ranks and you're recruiting this guy, and he looks at you and goes, "How many millions you gonna pay for me to come to you?"
Yeah.
All right, and I mean, even Nick Saban pointed that out. They're wanting millions of dollars before they ever step on the field. And think about this, and think about how many 5-star players we've seen come in and not ever make it to the NFL.
Oh gosh, man, there's
You
a
know,
small percentage. Me and a buddy of mine were talking at church today. He's a Carolina fan, and I said, we don't have much to talk about, do we? He was like, nope, not at all. Well, and we kind of got into the conversation about how that college football landscape has changed, like what you said. I mean, I don't know, it's so frustrating.
it is. It is.
So frustrating. Now I'll give you a good example of I think the transfer portal is good for certain situations. I was reading about Haynes King,
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's quarterback.
Yep.
He started off at Texas A&M, had a rough
Mm-hmm.
start, and I think that he got injured, ended up transferring to Georgia Tech, and has been a huge success there. Something like that. Hey, he's doing it for his benefit, for his playing career. He's not doing it for his benefit, for the financial gain from it. And when college football is monetized the way it is, it takes the fun out of it. It's not. I've always been a college football fan because it's amateur and it's development. It's what we went through as kids playing sports when we were younger. You learn, you get developed through the game, and you get better, and you put together a program, a team of people. You bring in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players to come in and play for you this year. You're not going to have a team that's gelling with each other, that knows each other, knows what the next man's going to be doing beside him because they played with him for so long, or fighting for your brother that you've been with for 2 or 3 years. It's just not the same. I'm traditional.
I am too.
I'm ranting. No, I'm sorry. I'm just aggravated because look here, Freddie. I want to say this. I've got full faith in Coach Sweeney that he's going to right the ship. Now, when that's going to happen, I don't know. I know that man's got the weight of the world on his shoulders because of his position as the head football coach of the Clemson football program. And he's going to have to make some tough decisions.
Yep.
And I know he's more disappointed than we are as fans. I don't have a dog in the fight other than I've been wearing that paw right there since I was a baby. And that's just that pride of, hey, I'm a fanatic. I did not go to Clemson, but I've been going to Clemson football games since I was old enough to walk with my family and season ticket holders for many, many years. And so I am a fan, and I got the right to say what I'm saying tonight. But I'm disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed. I had a lot of faith up until last week, and we still have to play Florida State. We still have to play Louisville. And I hate to say this, we still have to play Duke. And who would have thought that we would be concerned about a Duke football team, especially when they beat us? Was it last year or year before they beat us the first game of the season? But Dabo's going to get it right. The players need to get back on track because they're there. We got the team to get it done. And
3-4,
we can still end up 9-4.
Oh yeah. Well,
but they got to get it together.
And look, we've talked about the negatives, and you were right. I mean, that's been the theme of this show. We'll switch gears a little bit, and we're going into a bye week, so let's think about some of the positives. What were some of the positives you saw?
I feel like even though we lost the football game, we can win with Vizina. I like his poise. He has some good touch passes. He made some good decisions. He made some bad decisions, but that's just a lot of that's inexperience, in-game inexperience, and we could have won with him on Saturday. That's a great positive, I think. Can't think of anything else.
Well, all right.
Our punter did punted very well.
Yeah. The one spot everybody was worried about coming into the football season. Think about that for a minute. All right. And
Jack Smith, and I'm gonna say his name. Isn't that Jack Smith?
It is. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go with two also, but one
TJ
positive.
Moore. My bad, I forgot about him. Bright spot.
One positive. You brought it up, Chris. CV, man. All I heard last week was, man, we don't stand a chance if Cade's not able to go. We don't stand a chance if CV's got to be our quarterback. And it was almost like CV said, you know what? Y'all can claim that if you want to. You can think that if you want to. And I'm going to show you what I really can do. And let's see how y'all talk about me next week.
Yep. And real quick, Freddie, since you're on that, and I'm gonna sound like Coach Sweeney right here. So Vazina was 29 for 42 for 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think I read where he had a quarterback rating for that game of like 156, I believe.
That is correct.
And the highest, I'm looking at now, 156. And I think that the highest Deshaun Watson was as 157. So I'm not saying he's as good as Deshaun Watson yet, but that shows a lot of what's to come, of what his capabilities are. And you know what? That's my player of the game right there, CV.
All right, and I'm gonna go a step further. Okay, I'm hoping that, and I'm hoping it's not a DJU versus Notre Dame situation. I told you I'm gonna be the devil's advocate there now, because you think about this thing. He looked great in that game, even though we lost, and never
You're right.
good again. So, but at least it gave us something to look forward to going down the road. Okay,
that's right.
One other thing that I saw after the game, and it wasn't really in the game, but now he did. Tristan Smith actually had some really good. He played really good. All right, and he is actually he's already started the process of trying to get an additional year, and he's already made it. He's already made the statement that if he gets that additional year, he will be back at Clemson. So that's another bright spot. Because think about this thing, you're going to lose Antonio Williams. Hopefully we can hang on to Bryant Wesco, and heaven, hopefully we all pray that Bryant Wesco is, okay. I saw a report earlier that Coach Sweeney hadn't said anything at that time about him. I hadn't given an update, but Bryant had been on his social media a good bit. Hopefully that's a good sign. I can tell you now, watching that, it dumbfounded me when he got up. But it did not surprise me either whenever they said later that, because they even mentioned during the game, said, look, you haven't seen Bryant West go back on the field since that kickoff return. And then to find out he had to be taken to the hospital, that's scary, man. Because, look, you and I have talked about this before. We love this game. We love watching these players, but at the end of the day, they're still human beings, man. And, they get hurt just like anybody. And, you don't want to see that happen, no matter who it is.
That's right.
But that in itself, to me, is another bright spot, along with the fact that TJ Moore had his coming out period. I will say this, too, to CV's credit, and I'm not sure what the reasoning for it was, but it was something that was pointed out was that after the game was that CV got more people involved than Bryant Wesco and Antonio Williams, like Cade had been doing. He had been kind of singling onto them, and so that was another bright spot. sadly, I don't have one for the defensive side. I really don't.
I don't either. Hey, so many pass interference calls, so many breakdowns, and I'll say the first quarter they played really good. I thought, you know, and
Yeah.
and you know, and we're used to it. It's football, but it's a chess game in the beginning. You know, they're gonna make their plays, but then you adjust. We didn't adjust to their offensive scheme. We did not adjust at all. Man, look, at one time we had 6 DB. I think in the last part of the fourth quarter, 6 DBs out there, and the dudes are wide open.
Yep.
How?
Yep.
What? How many? They can only have what? 5, 6 receivers. I mean, what work?
Yeah. Oh. I know. Trust me.
How?
I feel it, man. I do. I'm just, and that
Crazy.
It's frustrating. You know, we'll have to regroup. That's all we can do, man.
That's right. Hey, but I'm gonna say this: for all the negative, still love my Tigers. I'm gonna be pulling for us all again in 2 weeks. Hey, I wore my orange to church, not this shirt, but I wore my orange to church today. You know, I'm not ashamed to be a Tiger fan at all.
Well,
I'm ashamed of the performance that our good football team has put together, but I'm not ashamed to be a fan. Hey, we still got dudes. We got some good guys on the team, but one more thing, because I know our time's running.
Oh, you good?
We talked about NIL and these dudes getting all this money. Well, we ain't getting our money's worth.
Nope, you're right. And think about this. You said about NIL just now. Think about this. If I understood it correctly, one of our commitments just signed with an agent for an NIL deal, and he's not even at campus yet. Not even. Yeah.
That's
signed. I want to say he signed with. I'm thinking. I don't want to say it wrong. I know that the report was he signed with an agent, and they're already looking forward to working with him on his NIL.
Yeah.
Hey, you know.
But it is what it is.
Right. For here, and I've got a shirt that I wear often. It says, it's got forever, and the O is a Paul, and underneath it says, whether we win or we lose. And that's the way we, we get frustrated. I'm gonna tell you, man, I hated when that game ended Saturday. But at the same time, just like we talked about before, it's Sunday. Time to regroup during the bye week and see what we're going to finish up with. And, and all I'm asking is that they put their best effort out there. That's all I want. If we do that the rest of the season, who knows? We don't have to worry about the ACC now, or I don't think we do.
Yep.
So now it truly is about playing for pride. And
paying that Paul on the hill now.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And your brother next to you.
Exactly right. But it is that time, and I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as we always do putting it on. If you like what you saw, go to our YouTube page and like it, share it, subscribe to it there and share it. Go to our Facebook page and send us a friend request. We will accept it. And then you can always jump in here. Let me make sure that we didn't get any. Nope, we did not get any comments tonight. Just want to make sure I didn't miss one. But until the next time, y'all. And yes, we will have another show next week. Even we're not going to take the bye week off like our Tigers are. We'll be back to talk about the upcoming game and go from there.
And we'll be here giving our best, and we don't get paid for it.
Exactly right. Hey,
and that's a jab to some of those players.
We always give 110% here.
That's right, man.
But anyway, Craig, you have a great week. Y'all have a great week. And until the next time, as always, go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Woohoo!